afternoon from the Gold Coast, Australia. The whales have decided to head north, and about a third of the way from the top of the screen, you know, they don't jump on cue or anything, but there's they'll keep passing, and they do breaching and doing all the stuff that whales do, the things you've seen on National Geographic. So sooner or later, something will happen again. We might even get a fantastic one. I've seen a couple of huge breaches in the last hour or so. So there'll be a fair few. It is what it is. It's whales going past, and they come in a lot closer than we're zoomed out a fair way at the moment. But they do actually come in very close to shore. They quite often pull up in the bay out the front here and have a rest for a while, frolic around. I think there's a fair bit of mating happens during the journey and when they get to the warmer waters. But when you see one, you'll know you'll see one for sure. They make a mess. You can actually see a bit of white here and there, splashes of water out in the distance there, and quite often that's just them coming along and just breaking the surface a little bit. But they do actually get very, very active at times, coming right up out of the water. So with a bit of luck, we'll, over the next hour or two, I'll just leave the camera running for a while. And if we catch some good film, we do, and if we don't, we don't. But I'm pretty sure there'll be some there. Oh, hello, Carl. Just give me a moment there. I'll see. I imagine you're on YouTube, on PlayStation. So, of course, this isn't a PlayStation event. I just happened to see there's a whale actually to the left-hand corner, and you can just see a little bit of surface disruption there. But there was actually a spectacular one dead center of the screen before I got set up while I was typing the oh, that's fine, Carl. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, no worries. Just coming by hanging out. Yeah, I just thought I would put the camera on in the hopes of we'll catch a nice breach right in front here, but they are definitely on the march now, so to speak. With a bit of luck, something will appear on the screen, and of course they were coming from right to left. So if we do get actually, before there was two or three of them, and there were two or three different big splashes and stuff like that all over the screen. But they'll be coming from right to left as we view it. So if we pick up something on the way, and it's a pretty overcast day, unfortunately. The sea's perfect, but if the sun comes out and blows the cloud away a bit, the clarity will improve, and it should look good then. But sooner or later, good things. You have to be patient for some good things, but anybody who comes along and wants to have a little bo peep and maybe see some whale action when it does happen will be fine. But I just thought I'd pop it up there and let whoever see it. It's not even in the gaming section, it's in the pets and animals section, so maybe some different people will come along. Yeah, it does look all right, but it's just not really clear. The sky is quite overcast, and we've had drizzly rain throughout the night and into the morning. But if it does brighten up, the clarity will improve a fair bit. Just got to get a bit of that white action in the water there. Get a bit of wave action going on, then you'll know they're coming along. Well, they do come in dribs and drabs, of course. Oh, there's one. There's one right in the centre of the screen. He just spouted. Yeah, there's one right in the centre of the screen right now. There's two. There they are there, right in the centre of the screen at the top. They're spouting, and there's one to the right. With a bit of luck, we'll get a breach or, some tail flukes and flapping and bullshit going on that whales do. But there's a couple of whales out there directly now, and they're in the centre of the screen at the top. With a bit of luck, we'll get a bit more, like they do get quite animated, Oh, there's a little bit of action there. You can see a little bit of foam on the surface there. They're a couple of kilometres offshore at the moment, like 4 kilometres, 3 or 4 kilometres. Oh, here's one right in the centre of the screen. Centre of the screen on the right-hand side. He's up nice and close. You'll be able to see he'll come out of the water any second now in the centre of the screen, just about be in dead centre, I reckon. There's one right in the centre of the screen and also up top of the hill. Oi! Yes! Magnificent breach, and we've got it recorded. All right, now we're going to see more of that. He's breaching around to the right, which means he might hang around and party up here for a while and put on a bit of a show. He might just pull up because they are travelling from right to left as we view it, heading north. But we got it. Pinched and zoomed. All right, yeah, so there'll be more action. There's no doubt the whales will keep doing their stuff, so it's a bit of a balance. If I zoom in, it narrows the field so much, and anything could be to the right or left, so you have to have the field wide enough to get some action. Oh my God, there it is. It's just happened right in front of me. Fuck me dead if I'm lying. How bloody good was that? Right in front, in the middle, for you guys. Get that into you. Oh, fucking perb. I can pinch and zoom my screen. Oh, right, that makes sense. How bloody good was that? Right out the front, right outside the bloody front door. My God, that was a beauty. We've had a couple of good breaches already. Wow, I thought I might have to wait. We're actually seeing this live outside my front door. There's a whale just there, directly in front in the centre of the screen on the left. Normally have a bit of music on this, but I don't know if I've got to put some glasses on so I can catch up with the text. Good on you, boys. Thank you for watching and checking. Yeah, on the left side. Yeah, so like I said, I've got. Oh, you have piano playing. Right, I can't hear it on my headphones at the moment, so I'm just checking that. Just making sure it's not too loud, too intrusive. It should be a quiet, very quiet one, I think. Oh, good, good. It'll be nice and quiet in the background. Excellent. Right, so there should be plenty of action going over, so I'll just let this run for a while. Thank you. It'll be good to have it'll be nice to have a look at it later on YouTube. I took I was just fiddling around, so I've only got the one screen at the moment, so. Indagata Davida, baby, don't you know that I love you so? So there is plenty of action going on today. It does look like it's fining up a little bit outside, so it might get a little clearer. I'm going to slide the window open because I cleaned the windows. I went up and gave the windows a good clean so that it could, so it doesn't go out of focus and get all blurry and everything. But it is going through a sliding glass window or door. That's to keep the noise down from outside. Dre's been around. Yeah, definitely Dre's been around before, for sure. That might improve the clarity a little bit there. I've just slid the sliding door open, but of course we get the street noise coming in. I'm going to leave you with it for a little while I go and make myself a coffee. I am looking forward to watching it on replay later on. It should be bloody brilliant because we've had a couple of breaches already, and I think there's more to come for sure. And I think we've pointed in roughly the right area. I hope it's not blurring out. Of course, it might just be my vision. Oh, it's not too bad. But I'm really pleased. I already had a couple of breaches. Now, here we go. Looks like there'll be a bit of action going on. Yeah, I lurked around Carl's streams quite a deal while he was doing them in recent months, and we've done some co-commentary in various races and stuff. So it's always good when Carl drops in, has a chat. There's whales up the top of the screen too, but I'm hopeful we get another one in close there to start performing like a seal, because they do show off. Oh, thank you, Carl. Well, it'd be fantastic if we get some people want to drop in, and maybe someone will subscribe to the channel. I know they might be coming for Wales, but you never know, they might be interested in a bit of GT7 too. But anyway, it's just a nice stream for something to do, something different, and there's no pressure on me to do anything other than to watch. I like to watch. slipping back into the pilot seat. Left my glasses outside. I just saw a massive breach out there a few seconds ago. I think there was a really good one a few seconds ago. I was outside and I had the binoculars up, scanning around, and I caught it out the corner of my eye. So there'll be plenty for me to skim through and have a look at, and maybe cut it up later on, and just do a collage of each time something jumps out of the water. Yeah, I haven't seen any. I haven't looked for it though, to be honest, live whale watching, but I put it in the general section for people. You know, anybody who might type in whale watching might see it. There's a little bit at the top there. Like, honestly, it's not a bright sunny day. Oh, plenty of action up top there. Of course, the difficulty is that, you know, you have to screw around with the zoom, and you know, it's not like a mega camera or anything, but I bought it so we would be able to zoom out. It's not a digital zoom, it's an optical zoom. So if anything comes in a little closer, and they do come in quite close, it looks like there might be something on the right hand edge at the moment. Maybe a whale in the foreground rather than in the background. There may be something in a little closer, but they do come in nice and close. We had a good one there. It does look like there's a bit of white water going on here on the right, the upper right there. They're blowing their little blowholes out, coming up for a breath. Oh, fantastic, Carl. Thank you. Like, you know, anything that you can record and send to me is fantastic. Like I said, I don't have the PlayStation on at the moment, so it is just the camera, and there's no studio camera up running at all. Let me know if you want to chat, and I'll put the what do you call it, the PlayStation on and the headphones. There's definitely a bit of action up top there, some distance off here. They're screwing around out there, but we did get something in a fair bit closer than that. Actually dead center of the screen. Oh, there's a bit of action going on up top there at the moment. And of course the other thing is I have to climb up to the camera. It's up, I've got it perched up very high, so it's over the top of the railings outside my apartment. Oh, He's getting feisty. The boys are getting feisty because heaps of action out the back there. Because the young whales, the young males. This is breeding time. And these boys, they're getting pretty excited on the trip up there, and they do a lot of performing. But and the females go up there to calve, to have their young up in the warmer waters, and they feed up there for a while, fatten up a little bit, and head down for the winter. So it goes on for a couple of months, about 3 months worth. Like I said, I would like to zoom out a little bit further, but at the risk of losing, I will have a little fiddle with it and see if I can zoom out a little further and see if we can get a little closer to that action that's closer to the top of the screen, because there's obviously quite a deal of action going on out there. So bear with me while so the camera will bounce around a bit while I fiddle around. It's massive breach at the top there. I'll have to try and zoom out a bit. Right, she's getting close to its full zoom out there. This would be the ideal thing to watch if you want to go to sleep, eh? Bit of action there on the top left. The writing's in the road a little bit, but we can't really do much more with the camera because it's obviously not professional quality. I bought myself a digital, it's a handy cam, but I was able to stream with it, and I looked around. It took me a while to find exactly what I needed at a reasonable price. It's got a 30 times zoom, optical zoom, because digital zooms just suck. You lose, it just pixelates. Come on, guys. I'll have to have another go at tilting it up a little bit so I can get the horizon just under the writing. Alternately, is there a way I can move that? Bob is your uncle. The writing's not very easy to read in that colouring either, so that's something else I'm going to have to work on. Changing the colour in the writing. Come on, guys, produce a nice big one for me right in the middle. That would be really spectacular. Anyway, it's very pleasant that I can just leave it running. You don't have to do anything. I can sit back with a coffee and hope to see something nice. G'day, Eddie. We've had some fantastic... I checked out a bit of your stream earlier on. So, well done, mate. You're doing good. You're going, playing strong, going fine. Yeah, we've had some... Probably had 5 or 6 breaches. Oh, there was a massive one up top left-hand side then. But, we've had a few good ones. We've had breaches right in the centre of the screen. Just come straight up out of the water and just breach. Just smash it. So we're hoping to get a bit more of that. But I zoomed out a little bit because there was a bit of action at the top of the screen. A little bit further out. Because, they're just constantly, and there are thousands and thousands of them. So it goes on for a while. And then, they screw around up north, head up towards the Barrier Reef and all that. Up to the warm waters. Oh, there's one in the centre of the screen going through the blowhole doing these, just come up. Oh, there's another one, another blowhole. Oh, breathing. There's a stack of them doing it. So with a bit of luck, we'll get somebody come in a little bit closer. They do come in and screw around right outside the front here. And, barely 1,000, 1,500 metres away. So you can see them, clear as day. It was last year. I know this was hard to believe, but this is absolutely true. I was in the bathroom here at there's a couple of bathrooms and the one at the front here, because I was home, I was here alone, and I'm in the shower, which is obviously a big glass shower, and I can see out of the shower into the ocean, and while I was having a shower, this whale came up on its side and stuck its big flipper up and just smashed Hey, g'day, how you doing? The super bus driver. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Yeah, we've had some whale action. We've had some breaches. Whales have been popping up. So any second now there'll probably be another whale turn up. But they are directly there. Like they're not, they're not doing much at the moment. But the next few that come through. The next couple of whales come through, sometimes you get the feisty youngsters and they come roaring out. Hey, Carl, if you can drop everybody's link in there for their channel, because he's got his channel, Eddie's got his, so it's going very, very well for the boys. I'm definitely not interested in this week's races, Yeah, well, it's live at the moment, and if you rewind it and rewind the stream, you'll in the first 5 minutes we had a couple of decent sized breaches, just. All right, okay. And guys, put your link in there. Put your link in the comments. Same for you, Eddie. Just make sure you put them in there in case anybody drops in, and they can check your channel. You need to click on my name and make me a moderator. I'm going to do that now. Yeah, I'll keep clicking on it, but I keep clicking on your name. It sort of comes up, it doesn't. It gives me 3 dots. Yeah, well, yeah, this week's, look, a couple of the big streamers like Rory and Super GT, and I was talking about race C as though it's the greatest race in history. You know, that the greatest race that GT7's ever put on. And I've looked at the numbers, and there's a whale right in the centre of the screen. Right in the centre of the screen. I just saw his back come up out of the water about a quarter of the way down the screen. He's just rolling past. He's not performing, or she's not performing. I did see the back of a whale come out of the water there. Yeah, well, look, but the truth is that race C just, well, race A, which has no, there's top right-hand corner, there was one just spouting out the blowhole there. But race A has almost, and it's got no DR on it, and it's got, there's a bit more, the blowholes going off. Never know, with a bit of luck we'll get a decent breach in a second. Race A and race C, and race A's got no DR on it, and race A's almost as popular as race C. And race B, by default, is considerably more popular, with about 15,000 more people put a time down for race B. And race C is just not popular. The truth is, people don't really like to do those sort of races, you know? And not many people, and there's very few people actually streaming it, you know? So I don't think it's the winner that some of the big streamers say it is. People just aren't supporting it. I don't think, you know, cutting Group 4 out to put in that sort of thing is, like, you get Group 4 and Group 3, and you're going to have 50,000, 60,000 people put times down. There's barely 30,000 put times down for race C, and the same for race A. It's only just over 30,000, I think, for race C. So it's definitely not popular. That's not to say it isn't a good race, but, you know, you do have to. Yeah, 55 minutes for one race. You get one race per hour, and if something goes a bit dodgy in the early part, you're sort of stuck in there. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to quit and lose DR and SR and all that? What am I going to do instead? You know, and I've seen a lot of people quitting that race, and you know, others going around and not even finishing in the allotted time. You know, they're so far behind. Like, get wrecked in the first lap. Yeah, and at a minimum there should be 4. But my heartfelt belief is that there should always be a Group 3 and a Group 4, because they are the two by far most popular categories, and 2 other races you could play with. Yeah, I can understand that. I can relate to that, Carl, to other sims, you know. Oh, come on, guys, let's get a bit of whale action going on there, boys. There's a fair bit of blowhole stuff going on, but nobody's doing any breaching and pulling up out of the water. Yeah, why do they have a daily that doesn't have any DR? And truthfully, the carts is very much a meme type thing. And, you know, like, you're doing carts on an enormous, here's a whale with an engine. There's a guy heading by. I think that might be the police. Because in the direction he's heading, well, there's a reef out the front here, about I think it's about 400 metres offshore, 400 yards. There's a reef, and of course you can't anchor on it, but you can fish around it and over it. You can float across it and fish and stuff. But and it's pretty popular. And all through the day, they get a lot of, you know, like when you got the whales on, especially coming into this weekend, you'll have a lot of people get right out there in their boats, you know, and they'll take families out and groups out. He's staying on top and he's really quick. Yeah, there's whales up the top there. You can see them spouting. But it was kind of funny because it was like a highlight at the beginning. And right at, within a couple of minutes of starting streaming, we had a beautiful, beautiful big breach right in the centre of the screen. We've had a couple of good breaches. I could pull it back, but we're sort of like would lose. You know, there's nothing to gain by pulling the view back a little bit. We definitely need them to come in. Yeah, you can, like, and obviously, when you've got big whales, there's also big sharks, and of course, there's big sharks out there too. But they mostly stay away from the shore area here, and we do have shark netting and all those sort of things that protect a lot of the coast, but it doesn't stop them from coming in, altogether. It does keep the numbers down though. But I wouldn't be surprised if sharks, fairly decent sized sharks, would shadow the whales, during the migration. Because some of them, there's got to be some that feed on humpbacks, especially the young, Fishing is pretty reasonable here. A few years ago, thank you for dropping in, guys. We've had a fair bit of action. There's a spout at the top of the screen just there, just now. Whales doing their whale things, but with a bit of luck, we will get somebody to breach shortly. Come out and do some tail flapping and slapping. They've actually, last season, there was several that were just directly out the front here, and they'd sort of like pulled up, like they pulled up for maybe a powwow or chat with a few of the other humpbacks around the joint, and they just hung around out the front here for a few hours before moving off. Like maybe just pull up for a bit of a rest or something, or maybe there was a bit of food around. Yeah, there was like you said, there was that was incredible breach right in the centre of the screen. But there's been I think there's been like 3 or 4 good breaches in total. With the whale just about coming completely out of the water. It's going to be good later on. I'll sit back with the remote control and I'll watch the. Oh, you sent me a clip, and did you send that to me on Discord, did you, or on something like that? Because I did hear a notification came through. Oh, thank you, Carl. It's really appreciated, mate. Thank you. Trying to make you a moderator, but I don't know. It's just not coming up on the. I'll work out how to do the moderator thing later on. Oh, there's a whale at the top left of the screen. He's just poked his back up out of the water there. I don't know if he's going to screw around and put on a show. What I'll do is I'll tilt the camera up a little bit and I'll try and zoom out an extra bit, because they're clearly they're a bit of a distance off. I think we're sort of like at the max, or pretty close to the max of the zoom. But I did earlier on, before I started doing any streaming, it greyed out when I was at when I put it on full zoom out, and it seemed to grey out a little bit there for a while. But I'll try and tilt her up and zoom out a little further so we can get a little closer to the action, if there is going to be some out there. But we did have action in the foreground earlier on, which was fantastic. And I'm just going to, I'll climb up and I'll tilt her up and see if we can zoom out a little further. So it'll probably bounce around a bit. Like I said, it's not a professional grade camera or anything like that. Alright, taking a risk, but she's fully zoomed out. So we must be closer to it. So we might actually get a bit of decent action out of that, because it's still clear. Oh, good. There is a whale on the left moving out of picture on the left. Now, with a bit of luck, we'll get some action just roll into there in a few seconds. Anyway, I'm going to go outside and have a smoke for a few minutes. Hopefully, I'll be watching from outside and see if I can see a... But if there is a breach in that section, we'll definitely catch it. And I'll check that Discord thing out, Carl, too, while I'm outside. Wow, Carl, what an absolute belter. I just had a look at the clip you sent me on Discord. Absolutely sensational. Thank you for doing that. I will be able to cut it up later on and do a collage of the various times that the whales have popped out and done the business. But fantastic, Carl. That was really a good one, that one. Come ripping out, right on cue. Got to see the whole body and a nice big splash. Fantastic. You'd have to be a miserable bastard not to be happy with this sort of thing, you know. Being able to see this outside my door, just, Jesus, I'm being a lucky bastard. Life has treated me so well. Oh, there's a bit of action going on out there. Come on, boys. Come on, let's have a nice big breach. Oh, they're getting ready for doing something. They are screwing around, breaking the surface. It's fantastic when they become playful, you know. I'm going to go over and grab that coffee, and I'm going to sit down and chill for a while and just watch the business. does look like it's getting a bit choppier out there too. A little more, maybe a little wind is getting up. Breeze, mind you, that might be a lot of fish schooling out there at the moment too. I'm just fiddling around plugging in another monitor so I don't have to crane my head too. I took my big monitor off. Wow, now that's clear. It's right in front of me now. It's all before me. Fantastic. Right, I've got it up on my big screen, which is sensational. Now I'll go to my YouTube channel. And see what it looks like there. Oh, it does look good. Coffee in Wales. Yeah, there's nothing like a good cup of coffee. Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking, I'm just seeing if I'm just trying to, yep, add as moderator. Yeah, I added you, Carl. You're now managing moderator for the channel. I was able to do it on the YouTube thing, but I was trying to do it in the OBS, and that wasn't working. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, there was a sensational one earlier on. I don't, Carl. Actually, I'm going to go back and have a look to find out where it was, but I think Carl said it was about 12 minutes in. There was an absolute stonking one earlier on. Oh, there's actually a fair bit of footage in there. I will put together a highlights package. That will be something that might be fun to do. Just sit there and stare at the screen and wait for the moments when the good shit happens. And when I replay it later on, yeah, Eddie, I think you're well over 350. You're going to go past me quite quickly. I'm just bopping along with 380 something. But you've risen well and quickly, which is good, you know, because you're young and personable and all those things. So it's good stuff. I'm pleased to see it. It's absolutely brilliant. Come on, fellas, let's get a little bit of whale action going on here. But hey, the actual what you can actually see on YouTube is not actually too bad. Well done, guys. Well done. uh, there's old and there's really old. But it's actually coming through nice and clear. From everything I can see, the output is on my YouTube 75 model. I'm a 58 model. I'm definitely in the baby boomers, at the end of the baby boomers. Come on, you whale bastards. Stop hiding, because you know you're on film. You're old but younger than all of us. Killing it, Carl. You're killing it. Yeah, I love the 80s music too. I was a big fan. You know, still am to this day, of course. There was a lot of fantastic. It wasn't just the 80s. You know, the 70s were absolutely stellar too, because you had a lot of the brilliant. just a just a visiting US tourist. No, we don't allow Americans in Australia. Yeah, we do. We welcome them, then they don't want to go home. They want to overstay their visa. Then we call them undocumented, fucking lazy ass US bastards. No, we don't call them that at all. Australia's pretty strict on the visas and stuff like that when you come here. They have a pretty fair idea where you are and what you're doing. As long as you're a good folk, they look after you. Which is the Aussie way, of course, as most of you guys know. I think every time you see a video about people who've come to Australia, you know, they totally love the place. Always blown away by it. Well, the actions looked rather quiet for a little while out there. I'll go out with the binoculars and see if there's I'll scan around with the binoculars and see if I have to change the angle of the camera. So I'll just go and have a quick bo peep outside with the binoculars, see if I can find some whales out there. just did a bit of a scan out there, and it still looks like the optimal area. I don't know how good it is. Bouncing a little bit, there is a little bit of vibration because it is pretty much zoomed out. There's a whale watching boat come into the center of the screen at the moment. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I never got in it to get the subs. I got in it because I sort of had a message that I wanted to share. What happened to that whale watching boat? Oh, it's moved across. So you guys will be seeing that now. Yeah, it looks a little more choppy out there than what it actually is. I don't know if that might be an effect of the camera being zoomed out as strongly as it is. It does cover a fair that's still a bloody healthy swathe of the ocean, that is, that we can see there. So, and they are coming from right to left, the whales. So if they're going to appear, or when they do appear and when they do their things, this is where they're going to do it. Somebody will do something, I'm just hoping one comes in a little closer and puts on a bit of a show in closer. Later on in the afternoon, when the sun changes position, there is activity out in the top left-hand corner. I'll just keep an eye out, see if anything spectacular is coming up, because I'll spot it before you guys will. Thanks, Carl. Well, everybody's had a shot. That's fantastic. Dre, Game, Swanee, good stuff. Thank you for doing that, Carl. Appreciate it. Favorite 80s band? My favorite ran through the 70s, actually 60s, 70s and 80s, and that was Pink Floyd. But I was a huge fan of Supertramp, ELO, obviously the Stones were always good, and they had some stellar hits. Oh, George Strait, yeah. Bon Jovi, hey? Bon Jovi. Pretty energetic, that it was, for sure. Super energy. John Bon Jovi. Yeah, it is kind of hard, because I can think of like 15 bands through that came in from the 70s into the 80s too, so If it was strictly 80s, I'd have to look to see where the birth of the bands were. In 1980, I was 22 years old, so it was a pretty premium time. You know, disco and 70s. You know, I was 18 years old and disco was live. So. Oh, Jim Morrison and the Doors, that was pretty early. Oh yeah, Van Halen. I can tell what your what your bent was, game. I can tell for sure. You know, yeah, we can see a trend forming there in the bands you're picking. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say that you even like Kiss, even though it was probably embarrassing to admit. Metallica, for sure. All right. Well, the Whales have I seem to have quietened down a bit there because we had a lot of spouting action earlier on. It does seem a little quiet at the moment because they may travel in sort of like larger herds or pods or whatever they call them. They're definitely there. You can see them at the top of the screen. There's a bit of blowhole action going on out at the top of the screen. I'm hopeful somebody comes in a little bit closer into that darker patch near the centre of the screen. I saw Metallica live. That would have been a hell of an event because it isn't just the music; it's the whole event, isn't it? You know, it's sort of like it becomes more than just the music. Oh, you saw him, Cole, too. Oh, you never saw Ozzy, and you're not gonna. Yep. You saw them live in Rome in 2008. 2008, that must have been... Was that sort of like at the end of their time? Where are those bloody whales? Come on, guys. I'm going to learn more as I observe them too, because we positively had a fair bit of action earlier on, but it has quietened down in the last 15 minutes. There hadn't been quite as many really obvious eruptions. Creed, Kid Rock, Lynyrd Skynyrd. I thought, Metallica still plays. Jesus. What do they call them now? Geriatrica. Lynyrd Skynyrd. I always thought that. Didn't Lynyrd Skynyrd, that was a band. Weren't they killed in a plane crash or something? Oh, you saw AC/DC, yeah. Yeah, I saw them here in Australia live back in the very early days, 1970s, 80s. Saw them down in Sydney. Actually, saw them a couple of times before they became, mega world stars and that sort of thing. They're essentially an Aussie. They were an Aussie band, but the lead singer Bon Scott, he was Scottish born, but he grew up here in Australia. Yeah, Lynyrd Skynyrd, their music, but not the original band members here. Oh, right. I would have liked to have seen Nirvana. I had a lot of time for that, the grunge and the Cobain's fantastic voice and vocals and stuff. Yeah, they were talking about Mississippi on. I saw it in the last 48 hours, something about Mississippi. And it wasn't about the weather, it was, they were talking about, they said that, I can't remember. Yeah, Mississippi, they said the gross domestic product of Mississippi, which was the lowest in the nation, was still greater than Britain's gross domestic product, I think it was. Yeah, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Yeah. Entertain Us. Yeah. Plays in your head. Once that song goes off in your head, ends up staying there, doesn't it? Any of those songs, those Nirvana songs. Of course, you guys would have all been huge Michael Jackson fans. I'm sure. But it was still bigger than, I think, the gross domestic product from Britain. I think that's what, or from England. I think that was the point they were making. And they were saying that, it's actually... Because I think nearly all the estates are starting to do quite well. The economy seems to be getting even stronger and more robust every month. That's from a world perspective, Michael Jackson is the greatest next to Elvis, greatest ever to do it. Yeah, well, Game, I'm going to have to say with you that Michael Jackson and Elvis weren't even close to the best singers in the world, but they were brilliant entertainers. I'm just going to have to say that they weren't the greatest. But they might have been arguably the greatest in their arena or in their fields. But, you remember smelling a lot of weed at the show. Well, that's hardly a surprise. Things are a lot different now that they've sort of decriminalised it in Australia, so things are a lot more relaxed in society, fortunately. But back in the day, when we were first smoking, you could very, very possibly go to jail, very likely go to jail. If you had like a couple of ounces on you, you'd end up getting, even on a first offence, you're likely to cop a custodial sentence. Come on, guys, do something. Get some whale action, guys. Go on. Fuck ya. Oh, I'm going to go and grab that coffee. Yeah, it does seem to have quietened down, though. Like that, we had plenty of strong activity, and they're definitely out there. I might pull the camera back a little bit. See if we can get a slightly wider field. Oh, Carl, you did hear what I said to you about the that clip you sent. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely, and Queen, staggering too. It's just so many. There was tens of thousands of entertainers, and there was a good, strong. There's probably, you could do for the 1970s and 80s into the 90s, you could probably do a top 100, and the one that missed out at 101 would still be a bloody good band. So there has been a lot of bands, and of course everything's always subjective, just how you feel them when you were born and when your peak was. So like when you're punching it out when you're 25 years old and you're on top of the universe and stuff. But it was all a different time for me. That was 1983, you know, when I was 25. So right in the middle of the great years too. Yeah, that thing, Carl, that you sent me before was a fantastic clip. The one on Discord, that was absolutely fantastic. Just no other words for it. Well, there are other words for it, but it was good. Yeah, the year you were born, 83. We got some nice sunshine out there at the moment. Yeah, that looks a little clearer too. I just pulled it back a little bit. I think we're actually probably going to see something again shortly, I would think. Oh, you got this on your 70-inch monitor. Good work, Carl. Oh, I am so relaxed. I learned the truth at 17, that love was meant for beauty queens and high school girls with clear skin and smiles. Yeah, there's I think that would probably be the shark, one of the shark deterrents. It may also be an anchor point for the Surf Lifesaving Club, which is directly opposite where it is. And it also might be a bit of an indication where the reef, so that people don't go anchoring in the area, because you can't anchor anywhere on the reef, of course, but you can float across it. I'm not certain. I don't think the reef's there, so I'm not 100% certain. But I think it might be to do more with your shark netting and shark things. I think there's actually a couple of them out there, and they string up a sort of like a bit of a wall which is just below the surface, but it's enough to deter the sharks from coming. They could go under it, but a lot of them, don't do that sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, sharks don't actually want to eat people, because it's not a food source, not their normal. I could find out though. I should know more about the area. Yeah, it's a buoy for sure. I think it would be. I think there might actually be I'm going to go outside and have a quick look, but I think there might actually be a couple of them in a line offshore there. But I haven't swam out to find out. I'm not going out there where the bodies are. Not unless I'm on top of the water. I just did a scan with the binoculars, and there is a line of buoys or buoys running along. Yeah, I look. The truth is, Carl will tell you this is true, and I've said it 1,000 times. I've always called it Red Bull shit. I've never liked Red Bull Ring at all, and the fact that they're dictating to me what car I can use. There's only 5, and none of it seems very appealing to me. So I haven't really had much interest in the nations this time around. Next time we have a manufacturer's, I'll definitely I'm going to do all the rounds next time there's a manufacturer's. But I'm happy to do a bit of practice to keep my hand in. Hey, that buoy out there is actually, it's not white, it's actually an orangey colour. And, yeah, it's a better combo than the dailies, there's no doubt about that, but wouldn't be bloody hard to beat the dailies. In my opinion, probably the worst week ever. Hey, but Carl, that buoy up the front there, there's, I counted at least 15 of them going to the left of that in a line, so I'm pretty sure that is the shark net that protects the beach here, and it's hung a couple of 100 metres offshore, and they hang there's mesh between them, and I think they anchor those buoys to the deck as well underneath. Obviously they anchor it, and they string it out along there, and I think it just sits below the surface. I don't know how far below the surface, because boats quite often go through the area. But Australia, we have pretty good water police too, which patrol up and down here, and we have helicopters go up and down the beach every day, and we also have light planes that fly up and down the Gold Coast all the time, and they'll trundle past at a slow speed, and there'll be guys with binoculars looking out for any big great whites or anything. So, and they usually dispatch someone out there to chase them off. Yeah, well, we don't have, see, Australia, as you know, Australia's pretty they're pretty well fucking sorted doing that stuff. They don't. We're not going to go screwing the poor old Ninja Turtles over too much. But anything that impacts on the wildlife, and we've got a pretty strong, departments that look after that sort of stuff and make sure that, we're not killing wildlife indiscriminately out there. And we got a fuck ton of turtles as well too, so there may be some incidental, but it's not like, creatures getting trapped and drowning out there and that sort of stuff. There's very little of that. We haven't had much in the way of action for a while, and the whales are there. They are cruising past, but there just hasn't been any sort of activity. It's like there was more activity in the early part of the day, and maybe they just get down to working hard and punching out the kilometres heading north later on. But earlier on, they were quite frisky. But it's been quite placid for the last, frankly, up to an hour now. There's been very little seemed to be happening out there. Of course, the minute they stop streaming, they'd all start doing pirouettes, and there'd be 9 of them in a line breaching, following each other nose to tail and doing conga lines and just being arseholes to annoy me because I stopped filming. But I'm just going to let it run while I have a coffee for a while. And of course, the best part about the stream is that this kind of stream is, as Carl very correctly pointed out, you can just leave it run. You don't have to do anything. If the whales turn up, well done. If they don't, also well done. Yeah, 25 laps. I'm wondering if they're going to put weather in it. There hasn't been any weather in the... Oh, yeah, that one clip makes it worth it regardless. Oh, shit, yeah, white sharks. Yeah, we have some of the biggest sharks in the world here. Like, I think... Like if you went top 10 great white sharks ever caught in history, I'd reckon 5 of them would be off Australia. I think off South Africa they have. I think South Africa is probably. There are a couple of places where there's this huge concentration of white sharks. Oh, we're having a flyby at the moment. Some jets doing some bullshit out there. Roaring up. Oh, here comes some more of them. Oh, I better go out and have a quick look, see what they're doing. Yeah, we had a couple of guys in fighter jets showing off. I couldn't get them on film if I wanted to. And I'm not going to jump up there and play with the camera. You know what fighter jets look like. Show us the jets, show us the jets. Great whites on surfboards smoking joints. Yeah, 3 great whites on surfboards. I just missed it. Unlucky. Yeah, actually, it looks quite nice out there. The day doesn't look too overcast now. It's still a bit of cloud around, but it does look better. I'm gonna have to tilt the camera up a bit, because those buoys are in reasonably close. So I'm going to try and get the buoy at the bottom of the screen. So I'm just going to try and fiddle with the camera again, and just tilt her up and see if we can. We might have to zoom out again, see if we can catch something, because they're a little bit offshore at the moment. It's not like they're going to be on the beach anytime soon. Fuck, I'll make this look easy. Right. That is the full extent of the zoom. She's maxed. All they have to do is get their big whaley asses into the camera and everything good. Like you said, Carl, even that one clip alone was worth it. What I'm going to probably do is tomorrow I might put it on, early in the morning, because the guys, it was a Revolver 240 Tokyo Drift going. Better catch up on that. Oh, here comes these jets again. It's a fighter jet. I just saw it. It was side on out the front at a height of about 250 feet, about 150 meters. It was about 150 meters above, and it was following the coast, the actual beach. And he came ripping in from the ocean around the headland on the right, and he had it tilted up on about like 40 degrees, and so I could see all the underside of the jet, and the wings weren't in the swept back position, they're in the more forward position. Did you actually see it go past the screen? Did it actually flash past? Because realistically, it should have actually been in shot for a split second. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm just taking note of the time. It's like 2 in the afternoon, but you know the whales don't give a shit whether it's day or night, and they keep going past through the night as well. So it goes on for quite a bit, you know, because there's literally thousands of these humpback whales who do this migration. Jas gripen. Jas gripen. Oh, the Swedes are pretty fastidious in their work. There's been a lot of brilliantly made Swedish, machines of all different kinds. Yeah, thanks, Carl. You know how it goes there. I had 389, and then I had 388 because someone didn't like me, or, or I'd done something wrong. But somebody went through and went, "Fuck him! I'm taking that sub back." But F-35, yeah. We've got some decent planes, but we haven't got a fraction of what the US. Well, we have a fraction of what the US have. But our guys punch above their weight. So all of the forces in Australia are very highly rated. Actually, by the Americans, the Australians are the Americans actually say that only the Australians can compete with them, and only the Australians can beat them in certain areas in the field. And the Australians they rate them better than the Americans in a couple of areas. And apparently, but they got no respect for any other. From what I understand, the American forces, special forces, and all those guys don't have any respect for any other. Although there would be some for some of the British, you know. I imagine that there's got to be a few units that the Brits that are extremely highly ranked and highly rated. Oh, that coffee is so good. Yeah, bumping along nicely there, Carl. With the yeah, I know you. I know you do like the Brits. There's some of the Brits. There are a couple of regiments in the Brits that are mega tough. Well, I've actually watched quite a few things on Americans, military guys, ex-military guys, and everything, who worked with the Australians in all the conflict areas, especially Afghanistan and places like that. And they said the Australians were just off the fucking charts. They just couldn't believe how. And when you go right back to World War II and every conflict since, Americans have always got stories of what the Australians, you know, how well the Australians went in the field. The British Special Forces, helped you quite a lot for sure. They said that from what I understand, the Australians using the helicopters and doing the roping, and there's right at the top of the screen there. I just saw a whale doing the blowhole thing. So with a bit of luck, there might be a little bit of action on top there. Might be some more whales coming through, because they do tend to. They don't tend to travel just alone. They do tend to. Oh yeah, there's actually a few there. There's I think I spotted 3. They're at the top of the screen. See a couple of them punching out the air. That telltale spray. They're not doing any leaping and dancing. I'm wondering if that's more an early in the day thing. they tend to do more of that early in the day because there was more activity earlier on. I imagine it would be, even just spotting one whale doing one blowhole thing and nothing else would still be pretty fantastic. You never know. I'm going to hang out for it anyway. I'm just going to sit there and watch for a little while and just drink some coffee. Yeah, there was a thing about the helicopters. Massive action on the top left. Oh, he's going. I'm just going to try and move the camera, but there was massive action on the top left. I'll just see if I can move the camera a tiny bit. There was a massive amount of water. Oh, and they're hitting it out on the fringes there. There's a lot of action going on right up the top of the screen. She's on pretty much max zoomed out, so can't really get much closer than that. Essentially what the camera is a I can't remember what the manufacturer is, but it might be like a Sony Handycam. Might be Sony. And it's like the original Handycams that you used to have that had a tape in them. Well, they're actually still around. I didn't know they were still doing Handycams because everybody's got a phone these days, and I thought Handycams would have been a thing of the past, and I certainly wasn't going to get something on tape. But when I did some research online, I found out that there is because I basically asked the AI to find something with a optical zoom, so that we could so that I didn't lose too much clarity when I zoomed out. So and then it turns out the Handycam. Oh, Carl, good night, mate, and thank you very much for sending me that clip. When I get to the end of oh, Carl, not too much, mate. All right, buddy. Best of luck, and I hope Ahab gets his whale. I hope he gets his whale whacked. Watched, washed, and whacked. Yeah, I'm going to do this for a little bit longer. I'm just going to let it run for a bit longer, because I don't want to, distract from what it is. It can be relaxing for people just to. And thank you very much, Carl. Good night, mate. So I'll probably just stream for a little while longer, and if we get a bit of action, it'll be good. I'd really like to have. Well, there's a bit of action on the top left there. Well, I've already moved it around to the top left to catch that action. It seems to be greyed out at the top of the screen there. I don't think that's reflective of real life. It does look a little greyed out. I don't know if that's just on my monitor or not. I'll just go check. It's like there's a fog bank. There's like this kind of greyish line, thick greyish area, about a third of the way down the screen, running across the screen. I don't think it exists in the real world. If I'm going to go, it might be just a sun thing. Getting plenty of birds. Fucking whizzing around the front out there. Seagulls, flying rats. they're absolute bastards of things that you don't want to eat anywhere near. Oh, there's a fair bit of activity going on further out. The whales they're definitely arcing up out there. There's a bunch of them out the top. Just need someone to stroll inland a bit. Come in a bit closer to the shore. There does appear to be plenty of them out there at the moment now. I'm going to go and check with the binoculars. See what's going on. No, all that is actually real. There's a few scattered showers running around out there, quite some distance off, and there is a fair bit of the clouds are breaking up the sunlight. So some of it is actually, well, it is all actually quite real. It actually does look like that out there at the moment. And this is whale watching and not the beach. So I'm pretty much just going to leave her up there for a little while longer and see how we go. Hopefully it will clear up a little and we get a bit more sun. But it has been a cloudy day, and we did have drizzly rain overnight. Actually do feel sorry for the people over in England at the moment. They've been having a hell of a time with the weather, with extreme heat. And I think it's only going to get worse. Over the next 2 years, I think there's going to be, because that El Nino thing they've got is, they're saying that the El Nino thing, they expect that normally temperatures rise by 1 or 2 degrees when there's an El Nino's system during the year out over in the Indian Ocean, I think it is. And this year they're getting, instead of it being 1 to 1.5 degrees sort of thing, it's actually hit 4 degrees hotter, and which is just like they said it's actually quite scary, and they said it's going to affect world weather patterns in some places really severely, and other places, like extreme drought in Australia, which means bushfires, and in a lot of other countries, absolute huge torrential rains and massive flooding. So that's what they're expecting over the next 18 months, 12 to 24 months over the next, definitely over the next 18 months. We could actually see some, because they said that when they have these big El Nino events, like they've had up to now, but this one is just way bigger than what they've had before, and the previous times that happened, it coincided with the hottest. The heat won't bother the Australians that much. It's just and they're getting better at bushfire management. So Australians tend to, we've learned a lot of lessons over the last few years, and things are getting worse, and the scale of it's getting worse. But being able to handle it has improved. So, we're kind of be well prepared, and the heat's not going to be the issue. It's just going to be the moisture part of it. But it isn't just for us that's going to be a huge thing. It's going to be a massive thing. South America, parts of Africa, places where, and in Europe, there's going to be, like places where you're going to get rain that's really going to be mega affecting, like in Germany and all those places there. I think that they're thinking it's going to be quite the event. I've just had the camera blurring up a bit. It's at the moment it's blurring, so I'm going to pull it back out of its long extreme focus. Just pull it back a little bit because it is maxed and it's blurring up a bit. You'll see it in a second or two, or now. I think that might help with clarity. Oh, it looks a bit better. Yeah. So like I don't know if you've had a look at the latest data on the El Nino thing, but it is something worth considering. Figuring out, and being prepared for yourself, making sure that you're prepared for how to deal with flooding if it's in the area you're in. It helps probably in some ways to help prepare for other people too. I just pulled the camera back a bit so it wasn't quite so wasn't so zoomed out. Hopefully we'll see a bit more action yet before I call the stream. Like I said, the minute that I finish the stream, there'll be, I'll go outside and then suddenly I'll hear a splash because it'll be that close. All the birds doing their thing. Right, well, I am going to bring the stream to a close. Before I close the stream, though, I will pan around the camera so that you can. Looked like there was a bit of action about to happen in the middle of the screen. It'd be good if you can get something happen. I thought I saw something starting to bubble up in the middle there. Yeah, so I'll pull the camera back a bit there and give you a bit of a look at the beach and stuff like that, and a bit more of the coastline to the left. So I'll jump up and give you a bit of a look around before calling the stream. And hang on, new alert box updates here. I'm just looking at some bit of stuff that came in on my computer just then. That popped up. All right, so I'm going to bring it back a little bit, and we're going to look around at some of the beach and some of the scenery to the left. Not that it changes a great deal, because it's ocean-like. But I'll pan around for a minute or two, and then I'm likely to finish the stream then. Hopefully something will pop up. We might see one more whale. That'd be good. Oh, that window hasn't been cleaned. You could tell. Alrighty, it's blurring up. Well done. Right, well, that was a look at my universe. I'll climb down from my perch. Thank you very much for can you take borders? It's kind of weird, you know, like for the last, hang on, I'll just move that camera a bit because it's the only thing that's on, and it's hitting the curtains there, so damn your eyes. I can just reach the legs of the tripod. There we go. Yeah, for the last 5 years, people have been coming here, staying in this unit, and I haven't stayed here. I've hardly stayed here at all, but a few months ago I decided to no longer have it as a holiday rental, and that I would retire here permanently. So now I'm down here, and this is where they're going to find the body. This, if they find me sitting in the rig, he'll have died doing what he loved. That's the way it'll be. That's what I said to my kid. I said, I might have a heart attack on stream. You know, I might even get a few more subs for it. But anyway, thank you all so much for coming in and watching the stream today. It was nothing to do with GT7, but that was always the plan A. But I honestly say thank you very much. And Dre, Game, you have a fantastic. And I've already thanked Carl. So I will see you guys very, very soon. And, you know, I hope you keep kicking goals. The pair of you, going well. So I just keep at it, you know. Don't let the bastards get you down when they do. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.